In today's world, with just this overwhelming amount of information, trying to navigate complex decisions, especially in global markets, it can really feel like you're searching for that needle in a haystack. But what if there was a sort of strategic shortcut, a way to cut through the noise, find clarity, and actually boost your performance? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, a powerful concept called marketing doctrine, or MD. It's all about distilling clarity from, well, complexity and really helping managers like you develop simple but really profound guiding rules.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's grounded in some fascinating research by Yoel, Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham. Their paper, International Marketing Doctrine, the Use of Guiding Principles, really digs deep into how firms can use these principles for success, especially across borders.
Right. So, our mission today is to unpack what marketing doctrine actually is, explore how it gets developed, how it comes solid within a company, and most importantly, how you listening accessible. Maybe you're prepping for a big meeting, trying to make sense of a new field, or maybe you're just, intensely curious how you can apply these ideas, especially thinking about how managers can craft and use these simple rules effectively. Okay, so let's start right there. Marketing doctrine, MD. Sounds pretty formal. We hear lots of terms, right? Mission statements, marketing plans, company values. How is MD different? What makes it stand out?
That's a really important question. MD isn't just a broad vision or a super detailed plan. Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham, the authors we mentioned, they build on work by others, defining it as a firm's unique principles, distilled from its experiences, which provide firm-wide guidance on market-facing choices.
Mm,
So what does that mean in practice? Well, think of it like a high-level playbook, not rigid rules for every single step, but core strategic beliefs, clear guiding principles for all your market decisions. And it's especially powerful internationally because it manages that tension, consistency, and flexibility.
okay. That consistency and flexibility balance sounds like the holy grail for global companies. Can you give us a concrete example, something that really makes this MD idea click?
Absolutely. The research points to Procter and Gamble. P&G has this core principle. They aspire to be a market leader, number one or two, in every category they compete in globally. And if a brand doesn't achieve that after a reasonable time, they often exit. They sell it off. That's not just a fuzzy goal. It's a clear, high-level doctrine driving tough strategic decisions, like divesting major brands. It's a simple rule guiding complex actions. And this whole idea, it really connects back to Peter Drucker. Remember his concept of a theory of business, those basic assumptions that shape everything a company does, what it sees as important results. The work by Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham really pushes that forward for managers today, giving a practical way to use those core assumptions in international business.
Okay, so it sounds powerful conceptually, but moving from concept to reality,
Yeah.
that's often the hard part. How do companies actually mobilize this, make it work day to day? You mentioned Yoel Asraf, Itzhak Gnizy, and Aviv Shoham did a mixed methods study, combining surveys and interviews.
Exactly. They wanted to understand the how. Their research model uses the knowledge-based view, the KBV. Basically, this view says that a firm's real competitive edge today isn't just products or factories, it's knowledge. How it learns, what it knows, how it uses that knowledge. For international firms, this is absolutely critical. And MD, well, MD is like the container for that crucial strategic knowledge. So their study looked at 4 key processes that build up to actually using MD effectively and getting better international performance. First up is learning by doing LBD. Pretty straightforward, right? It's learning from your own wins and, maybe even more importantly, your mistakes. It's internal learning. The authors found managers saying things like, success breeds success, you need examples, and also that companies learn from their and others' mistakes. But then second comes MD clarity. Learning by doing is great, but raw experience, it's messy, not enough on its own. That experience needs to be distilled, transformed into clear, explicit, understandable principles. This helps deal with what researchers call bounded rationality. Basically, our brains can't handle infinite complexity. MD gives us simplified, clear models like mental shortcuts. Third, there's MD knowledgeability. So you've got clear principles, but are they known? Are they integrated across the whole company? They need to be known, understood, accepted by everyone worldwide. Think about Amazon's leadership principles. Everyone there knows them, uses them. It's not just wall decoration. That's MD knowledgeability. And finally, number 4, the payoff. MD use. This is about how much those clear, widely known principles are actually applied. Are they guiding day-to-day marketing decisions and actions? Are people actually using the doctrine? That's the ultimate goal.
That breakdown is super helpful. LBD, clarity, knowledgeability, use, said. It makes sense. But you hinted earlier, and the authors Asraf, Gnizy, and Shoham found something surprising about that first step, Learning by doing, right. It wasn't quite what you'd expect.
Exactly right. This was a key finding from their first study. Learning by doing, on its own, has very little direct impact on MD use. Instead, its real power comes through MD clarity and MD knowledgeability. Those two fully mediate the effect. So what does that mean for managers? It means just having experience, just learning lessons isn't enough. You have to actively work to make those lessons clear, translate them into principles everyone understands and buys into. Then that learning gets put into practice, otherwise it just sort of dissipates.
That's a huge takeaway. It's not passive learning, it's active clarification and dissemination. Okay, so for listeners thinking, right, I need to do this active work, but what does it look like?
Mhm.
What are some actual MB principles? And how did the authors, Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham, suggest managers go about developing their own?
Great question. This is where their second study, the qualitative interviews, provides really practical stuff. They shared specific examples. And remember, these are firm-specific, not generic platitudes. For example, one high-tech firm's principle was use third-party integrators to market products rather than direct marketing to end users. Very specific, very action-oriented. Or, from a chemicals firm, this one's more metaphorical but powerful. When quoting prices, remember, the floor is nearer than the sky. That clearly tells managers, be cautious with pricing, don't get greedy. It guides real decisions. Another one from an IT firm, start by offering the client our plain vanilla product. Simple, clear guidance. Don't overcomplicate the initial sale.
Those examples really make it tangible. You can see how a manager could actually use that day to day. And it sounds like these aren't just for the marketing folks, are they? They spread beyond that department.
Absolutely. That was another key finding. Managers reported using these MD principles across all functions, like a marketing VP at a plastics company shared a principle about internal roles. Welcome other employees' insights, but do not disperse marketing decisions to them. Clarifies who decides what. Another manager had one for suppliers. Our suppliers are our oxygen supply, so we must treat them fairly. That guides procurement, operations, everything. Simple rules, broad impact.
Okay, this is getting really practical now. We see these specific simple rules. We see the why, clarity, alignment. Now, the how. What's the blueprint? How do you actually create this marketing doctrine? Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham offered 7 specific suggestions, didn't they?
They did. A really helpful roadmap for managers. First, they suggest setting up a cross-departmental MD council. Get different perspectives involved right from the start. Second, don't just invent principles out of thin air. Go out and gather the ones already being used, maybe informally, across different business units. Find the hidden gems. Third, once you have that collection, identify the most critical, most relevant ones. Focus on what really matters. Fourth, formalize it. Create an actual MD manual. Make it tangible. Write it down. Fifth, communicate it relentlessly. Everyone, everywhere in the international operations, needs to know and understand this manual. Sixth, you need follow-up. Periodically review how different subsidiaries are actually applying the principles. Are they using them consistently? And seventh, MD isn't static. Periodically review its relevance. Does it still fit the market? Does it still align with strategy? It needs to evolve.
That's a fantastic step-by-step process. It really emphasizes creating that single international marketing language. You see big companies like Coca-Cola, Unilever, even Shiseido in Japan investing heavily in internal marketing academies. It sounds like that's exactly what they're trying to do, embed this common doctrine, this shared understanding globally.
Precisely. And linking this back to performance, remember that finding from study 1. MD use actually applying the doctrine was strongly linked to international strategic performance. It explained about 40% of the variance. That's huge. So this isn't just about making life easier for managers, though it does that. It demonstrably impacts success. It makes strategy actually happen. And think about the core problems it solves for managers in complex global rules. First, that bounded rationality issue. MD provides those clear, simple rules or models. It cuts through the overwhelming complexity, letting managers focus on what's essential. Second, it tackles that classic consistency flexibility dilemma. How do you stay aligned globally but adapt locally? MD provides the high-level consistency, the core principles, while giving local managers the room to adapt the details. It's that Jeff Bezos idea. Stubborn on vision, flexible on details. MD gives you the vision. And third, it's massive for internal alignment and collaboration. When everyone shares the same guiding principles, the same language, it reduces arguments, builds trust between HQ and the local teams, and ensures everyone's pulling in the same strategic direction. It acts like an internal referee, almost.
So when you put it all together, marketing doctrine is much more than just a list of rules. It's really about building a core strategic capability, the ability to learn, clarify, align, and act effectively, especially across borders. Well, there you have it. A really deep dive into marketing doctrine, powerfully illuminated by the research from Yoel Asseraf, Gnizy, and Shoham. We've seen how taking experience, making it clear, making it known, turns into the backbone of international success. It's a practical way for managers to sharpen strategy and guide action.
Absolutely.